Hi everyone, Angela da Silva here. I'm a Holistic Counselor and a Reiki Master, and I have created this channel for you single parents, single mom and single dads, to normalize our struggles, to recognize that you are not in this journey alone. There are many of us, and sometimes what can feel that is always or only happening to you is actually happening for all of us. So welcome to our channel. So I have a question for you today. How many times you have that feeling to give up? You got to a point where you have reached the wall and you just don't know what to do. And you constantly have this feeling, this inner voice telling you, just give up, just give up. Well, it's something that certainly you are not the only one that feels that way. Even people, they are not single parents. It's part of human nature. We got to a certain point in life where we doubt the process. And as a single parent, many times I have felt in my life constantly, I just want to give up. I give up. And why do we always have this constantly feeling of wanting to give up? Sometimes it's not constantly, but we do come across these thoughts once in a while. And the reason for that is, first of all, every time you feel that you have this feeling of giving up, perhaps it's a sign that you're getting towards the end of a cycle. Perhaps it's time to see when and how and to whom you need to ask for help. Perhaps it's enough that you are telling yourself in a different way, asking yourself to think differently, to try things in a different way. So if you ever have this feeling of wanting to give up, instead of judging yourself, I invite you to go and look deeper. It's a part of you that's actually asking you to stop and to reflect, because perhaps the things that we're doing is not working. So it's time to reflect and see alternatives, different ways, talk to different people. But for us as humans, we like to know what's next. We like to follow routine, to do things over and over again in the same way. It just makes us feel safe because we know what's going to happen. The problem is when you don't know what's going to be happening, what's next, and we try our old ways, it doesn't work. And that feeling of I'm giving up comes to the surface. So perhaps your feeling of wanting to give up constantly is also a way of your body, your nervous system, telling you that it had enough, that it can't endure that anymore. And so many times when you reach that wall, we feel like a failure. We feel like we don't deserve whatever we're going through, and we place ourselves in this victim situation. So I ask you to perceive this inner call, this feeling of wanting to give up in a different way. Next time when you have your feeling of wanting to give up, I want you to listen to it, because it's your inner wisdom trying to guide you to a different choice, to a different way of doing things. Whether this is relating to parenting, whether it's relating to your romantic life, your career, your family, anything, health issues. But we tend to have this feeling of wanting to give up because it is overwhelming. Sometimes it can get on your shoulders. It's too much, So it's important for you to recognize that single parent life is difficult for all of us. Nowadays, the way the world is changing in a digital era, we don't even know how to talk to our kids anymore. We don't know how to approach them with all these electronics and this information that's coming so fast. And these days, your children, our children, they're learning more with the electronics than with school. So of course, we have this feeling of wanting to give up because we just don't know how to proceed. I find that this constant feeling of wanting to give up is also a part of you that wants you to go deeper, wants you to stop doing what you're doing and feel into your emotions and give yourself a space to understand yourself and understand why you're doing things the way you're doing. It's interesting how we associate this feeling of wanting to give up with the feeling of failure, with the feeling that we are not good enough, that we don't know what we're doing, and therefore we know nothing about life, and therefore, we are nothing. We can go through these stories in our mind, but I ask you to just perceive the feeling of wanting to give up in a different way. Deep within you, there is a part of you that knows exactly what to do, knows exactly the next step. But because you're running around busy, always scheduling, always ticking the boxes, we actually don't give time and space for that voice to be heard and understood. Of course, sometimes we have this feeling of wanting to give up because we don't know what to do. We really don't have the answers. But sometimes not knowing the answer is an answer itself. So from now on, when do you have this feeling of wanting to give up, I say to you, welcome to the club. We don't always have to know what to do next. We don't always need to know the answers. But always what you can do is give yourself time and space to, first of all, have self-compassion for all the things you're going through, all the things that you do, recognizing that how wonderful and amazing parent you are and how beautiful kids you have. And start looking at life with the lens of appreciating. So from that space, you can shift from, instead of this space of lacking, of wanting to give up, you shift to a space of empowerment, of yes, I can go through this. I am good enough. Thank you for being here and stay strong.